Stop being shy. Whether you're an extroverted, whether you are an introverted, whether you are the most confident person in the room, you guys are sometimes shy depending on the situation. I myself, I'm a shy person in many, many instances. I will in this video describe some of the reasons and some of the ways to avoid being shy and why it is something that you guys wouldn't want to be. According to Dr. Jordan Peterson, extraversion, which is a characteristic trait which is sometimes enticed to one's personality, leads to a higher probability of success. So, in other words, if you are a more extroverted person, or in other words, a more sociable person, your chances for being most successful is higher. When you're a shy person, it is most likely because their underlying personality or temperament traits. Now, temperament is basically an accumulation of behaviors and attitudes over a certain period of time, and hence why I call it temperament, because temperament is something that can be changed over time. Come across as less dominant. So if you're a shy person, even though you might be a dominant person actually, but if you come across as being shy, especially in social scenarios, you actually might come across as a person who's less dominant. Seems antisocial. Now, this is quite an obvious one. A person who's shy is a person who obviously doesn't talk a lot, and that can very often come across as a person who's quite antisocial. Even if you are a social person, even if you know how to build and maintain conversations quite well, just being genuinely shy just indicates that you might be antisocial, even if you're not. Being an introvert is an excuse. I have seen this many, many times in Malaysia where a lot of people actually don't engage in conversations basically because they identify themselves as an introvert. Now, being an introvert, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I love being an introvert at times, but using that as an excuse to mask your timidness or shyness is something that I personally wouldn't recommend. Usually talking about things not in your interest. Now, this is a reason why I'm very often shy, and it is something which basically is often out of your control. But in order for you to avoid being shy, you have to engage in conversations and try to find mutual grounds, even though the topics or the subject of the conversation are not of your interest. With that being said, there are a few practices for you gentlemen and ladies out there to, simply basically do every single day for you to at least become less shy, or in other words, more extroverted slash socializing. Go outside of your comfort zone. Now, this is an absolute common cliche one, and there are, I would say, 9 billion ways of how you can literally go out of your comfort zone. One of my favorite ones is a simple tactic I use, which is called the rejection strategy, and it's basically saying or asking weird stuff with without having the mindset that you might be rejected. For example, going to Starbucks, this is a crazy example, but for example, going to Starbucks and saying, "Oh, can I have today's coffee for free?" Now, like, that sounds crazy because the Starbucks staff will be like, "Hang on, like, what do you mean coffee for free?" But the idea is there that the idea of not being rejected would also ultimately, bring you into that discomfort, and over time, progressively, you will come across as a person being less shy. Practice talking in a mirror. Now, if you're shy because you literally have problems socializing or being confident, especially when you engage in conversation, talking in a mirror is a perfect practice for you to reflect on your body language and the style of the way you convey the messages when you're speaking. So try that out. Send a DM talking on the camera. Now, this is an interesting one. So instead of um, frequently texting just on text, like literally typing on the keyboard or on your phone, literally send a video of you talking. Now, if it's hard at the start, literally record yourself, or don't, sorry, record something else while talking in the background. But once you're confident over time, you can, start recording yourself and start talking in the camera. Go to events of your interest. Now, this boils down back to the previous slide where basically you're shy because you cannot engage in conversations as it is none of your interest. If that's really the case, literally go to an event that spikes your interest. Because I'm sure with people who literally have the, same topics in mind or the same interests at heart, it is 100 times more easier for you to engage in conversations. And plus, they might also have a similar personality or similar timidness, shyness trait, which you both might share. Become a more agreeable person. Now, this is actually key in, engaging in conversations, even if you don't know what to say. Literally come across as an agreeable person. Literally, I'm not saying to say yes all the time, but actively listen and basically find a way to agree with the topics or the opinions they share. Most human beings in this world are opinionated, and to have an agreeable person around come makes you come across as a nicer friend.